So thanks very much for the opportunity to present from 121. We're going from what was a stellar looking discovery process in Canada to looking at artificial intelligence and what it can do to assist with that exploration pipeline. If you think about what was presented there about the relationship between different geological models and terrains, etc., to be able to unlock the potential from what has been held in geologists' minds, in geophysicists and geochemists' minds, and be able to release that through the power of artificial intelligence to be able to replicate that in multiple areas and multiple settings. So we listed just back in February, so we're a new exciting ASX listed stock. We're looking at OTC options at the moment to be able to get people to trade us in New York, and we've opened an office in Denver, Colorado to expand and deploy this technology in the US market. And we've got a couple of interesting comparables. Goldspot, TSX listed company, active in this space, as well as Cobalt Metals, which is backed by Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos to transform the way exploration is done globally. We're tightly held, market cap sitting about 50 million, and management and the senior team own about 25% of the company. We set the company up really to be able to find where we're going to get the new supply of copper, nickel, lithium. We all know the story. These things are in short supply. The areas where we've found these deposits, hot territory, but in short supply of areas where there can be new discoveries. Demand going exponential, supply coming under threat. We need to do something different to be able to improve the success rate of exploration. Our company is a bit of a project generator. We work with third parties, mainly because our technology involves a big capital investment up front in developing the data and exploration required to do it. We unlock potential in known companies' areas. BHP is one of our JV partners and also a shareholder within SensOre. We have our own exploration programs and our own 100% owned targets that we're exploring on at the moment. We have 3 rigs running, testing the targets, and we're doing a 10,000 metre drill program underway in some of the hottest gold exploration in the planet at this point in time. What the technology is, it is about taking the advances in artificial intelligence, so pattern recognition. So in financial services, you're looking at companies that are going through massive data sets and looking for anomalies that could represent corruption, fraud, or those types of things. In healthcare and medtech, you're looking at computers being able to look for patterns in X-rays and CT scans that the human mind can't see to be able to reveal things like cancer diagnoses. We're looking at diagnosing the entire continent and eventually the world, or Australia, to be able to see anomalies in the Earth's crust that represent enriched metal content from a global data set of deposits around the world. So we get the computer to go and analyse 10,000 different deposits globally to be able to see the patterns that reveal not only where deposits might be, but the deposits that are going to be economic mines of the future. So we train the computer to be a geologist. We train it to read the maps, read the reports, be able to unpack all that information, turn what has been a qualitative science for 100 years into quantitative data layers. Be able to marry that up with the geophysics right across large areas and the geochemistry. So being able to go into geological surveys, ASX, TSX list reports, rip that information out and assign it to locations to build up a massive model right across the countries or the terrains that we deploy it upon. So we grid the country into 400 by 400 metre cells. We assign 2,500 layers of digital information to each of those areas. And we use the power of big data to be able to predict from the data that we do have into the data that we don't have. And that's really important because the new discoveries of the future are going to be coming from undercover, from near mine, from known mining jurisdictions, pushing that information from what we already know about outcrop in those areas into new areas that we know very little about. We know more about the surface of the moon than we do about what's under 100 metres of transported cover in some of the areas, the biggest areas across the planet. So when we set the algorithms loose on our massive data cube, we can ask it many questions about, so where is orogenic gold systems going to be? Where are the new copper porphyry systems going to be? What is the geochemistry of a fault or an area of terrain that's moving undercover from the known to the unknown? Where can we find those new mines, and how can we deploy new tools to be able to do that? You can see there just some of the new images that we pull up in prospectivity across Western Australia, one of the most fertile areas on the planet for copper, nickel, lithium. These are new information, these are new maps that be able to track out new provinces for these commodities, and we work with third parties to be able to mop up some of those targets. So here you're looking at many of the targets that we've pulled up for nickel. This came out of the joint venture work we did with BHP on understanding where are the new nickel mines of the future going to be within Western Australia, and we identified 4 potential areas. One we joint ventured with Chalice, which has made the Julimar discovery one of the best new nickel PGE discoveries in Australia in decades. We've just drilled the Moonara project, which is under the Nullarbor, under 400 metres of cover, a big geophysical target which our system loves, and we're pretty excited once we get assays back to be able to talk more about that project. And 2 new projects in unknown areas for nickel prospectivity, which the system likes, which we have just pegged. We also have a joint venture with Prime Lithium, a German company that's been mandated to go and look for supplier for Germany and Europe's battery minerals of the future. We'll earn revenue from that project, as well as being able to take equity in up to 8 targets that we build for that group right across the continent. Also out exploring in South Australia for gold and copper with companies like Barton Gold, which have had a stellar run around revitalising gold prospectivity in South Australia. A lot of that work that we're doing, we're putting on the cloud. So companies all over the world, investors, will be able to look at the information, look and evaluate the targets that are being talked about here, and be able to see fully into the information that is driving predictions and reports by companies in the future. That work is happening with New York Stock Exchange listed CGI and with IBM. We also have, I guess, a big impact with investors on sustainability. So it's getting harder and harder to access land within most of the terrains in which we operate. So more surgical drilling, less land disturbance, and more bang for your buck with the exploration dollar is about using data more effectively. And you look at greenfield exploration, it has 3 to 5% success rate. Oil and gas, which is much more advanced in data science, has a 20-30% success rate in this area. We're hoping to get mineral exploration up to the 10, 20, 30% that we can see is achievable by putting more science behind what has been a very quality of art to date. Just to talk about our majority-owned and wholly owned gold assets, you can see where the system has been driving us to very prospective gold-bearing districts in near-mine environments in Western Australia. We have a discovery at Mount Magnet, high-grade gold intervals that we've intersected just north of Ramelius's operations there. It's a new type of mineral system that hadn't been recognised before in that location, where they'd been looking for gold-hosted banded iron form locations. We're just drilling at Balagundi. You can see the head frame of the Kalgoorlie Superfit pit areas from that operation. Our system loved that area. We were driven to it. It hasn't had modern exploration applied to it. We've got gold intercepts from our first pass air core drilling. We're out there targeting it heavily at the moment with a big air core and RC plan. You can see there we've got an infill geological survey component, that infill geophysical survey, which has extended the area of prospectivity across those locations. I'll just skip through a couple of slides here to our Eaglehawk prospect, which we just finished drilling. The system drove us to this new discovery by Great Boulder Resources, the Mulga prospect. You can see it up there in the north. There's potential to be a multi-million ounce new discovery up there. Very high grades being pulled out by Andrew Patterson and his group. We were able to pick up the southern extension of that area, and we've just blasted it with a very large air core and RC program over the north, and we're looking forward to talking about that as we get assays back over that period of time. But just to finish up, We're just coming out of time. We've got a very experienced team. We're newly listed. We're an exciting combination of mining technology and exploration. We're generating new targets with the majors and with companies right across the board. And we're coming to the US and to Canada. So thanks very much for your time.